Hello from Helsinki, or actually taking full advantage of the new work from anywhere era, from the Finnish lake country close to the Russian border, from an island inside a lake inside of an island. I'm Niklas Lilja. Most recently I spent almost 4 years in Japan as ECD for RGA Tokyo. My talk today is called 4 Challenges to Quarterly Capitalism, How to Build a Brand for the Next 1,000 Years. I worked in the purpose and impact field with brands for most of the past decade, and I've come to believe that quarterly capitalism is our biggest obstacle for moving in the direction we create true value for brands and the world. It's led to a financialization of the global business culture, where we are focusing on making decisions based on and measuring the wrong things. These 4 challenges are meant to open up a path beyond our obsession on exponential speed and quarterly reports. They are purposefully short for today. Get in touch with me for talking about any of them for longer. We can get a virtual coffee and build on them together. The first challenge is the short-term thinking, highlighting brands who dare to choose long-term creativity over short-term profits. The second challenge is the performance-driven marketing, as opposed to businesses driven by humanity, quality, and creative excellence. Challenge 3 is the profit, or rather, how we calculate it. It's high time we move from share value to the world value brands can create. Lastly, let's challenge how we define business success. This is where the 1,000-year part comes in. More on that soon. Okay, on to challenge 1. Choose long-term over short term. There are more 1,000-year-old companies in Japan than anywhere else. They also have more over 100 and 200-year-old brands than anywhere else. And I don't think it's a coincidence. Long before our current purpose trend, a core value of Japanese companies has been to create long-term value for people and society. Our main client at RGA, Shiseido Group, has had the same core mission for over 100 years. How can Shiseido be of use to people and society? No surprise, their business has been steadily growing. If we in the West are, largely, an individual-first culture, Japan is the polar opposite. There, you consider how your every action will affect both those closest to you and society at large. It's based on the concept of wa, loosely translated as harmony. This is why Tokyo is the most silent metropolis in the world. Nobody talks on phones in public or listens to YouTube clips without headphones. It's also why everyone wore a mask in public from day 1 of COVID outbreak. And this is what attracted me to Japan. I was wondering what it would be like to work with companies who optimize for longevity, who consider their effect, all of their decisions, the effect they have on the well-being of people and society, and don't pay much, if any, attention to quarterly earnings. Well, for one, we ended up building a time machine. Shiseido wanted to see if the data they have could be used to help people feel less terrified about aging of all things. We embarked on a year-long R&D process, developing a completely new way of mapping scientifically accurate aging data on any phase in real time and in 3D. We let people travel to any time together, any age together, talking about their hopes, dreams, memories, and fears related to aging beyond time. It was an investment from Shiseido in long-term thinking, building lifelong customer relationships and creating value in battling one of the last taboos in beauty, growing old, plus developing new tech for any number of future services and experiences. I'll leave the last word here to multi-millionaire investor Naval Ravikant, founder of AngelList. He has a piece of advice that's applicable for both self-help and investment. Always invest in long-term over short-term. Always. My second challenge is be driven by humanity, not performance. My friends working at an unnamed global tech giant were shocked to find out they were required to report how a piece of digital creative would perform even before it was deployed. We're all familiar with this way of measuring how effective our creative executions are, but impressions do not equal impact. Let me counter with a Harvard Business Review headline that's been my guiding question for years. Can you power an organization with love? The article is quite long, so here's the TLDR. You can, and it's wildly profitable. Case in point. There's a robot being developed in Tokyo that does nothing. It has no list of features and no cool functions. For a robot, it's actually pretty lame, other than the fact that it's created to deepen our innate human capacity for love. We work with Japan's biggest startup, Lovot. Yes, that's short for Love and Robot. Instead of adding new capabilities and extending what humans can do, founder Hayashi-san wanted to create tech that awakens and amplifies our innate capabilities to empathy and love. Lovot became the darling at CES 2019 and is now on track of becoming the most sold home robot ever. What can we unlock when we develop products powered by love? When brand makes decision from a place of humanity instead of a place of performance. My third challenge is from sheer value to world value. Before Japan, I was at Enso Collaborative, an impact company based out of LA, and we wanted to prove that a values-based brand would do well as a business. So we started a yearly brand study called the World Value Index. With a set of 4 simple questions, we saw that when people share in on the values the brand stands for, and more importantly, when they see that the brand acts in accordance with those values, it results in brand love, and yes, it also loosens those digital purse strings. World Value Index started to paint a picture of a new kind of capitalism, where those companies who don't obsess over quarterly revenue, in fact do better quarterly than those brands who do not consider their impact in our lives and the world. Fast forward to Japan. It's the most homogeneous people in the world, to the point where every elementary school kid until recently was still given a set of crayons, one of which was labeled skin color. For my crayon project, we partnered Shiseido researchers with the Japanese education department to create a new kind of art class, where every child got a crayon with their exact own skin color, and then switched crayons to draw each other's portraits. This was not some CSR purpose washing, something the company does on the side to feel good. It was consistent with the core value of Shiseido, creating beauty innovations for a better world. In other words, innovations that create world value. The larger question then is this: do we leverage the data that brands gather to target people for instant sales, to power algorithms that show us more of the same? Or do we use data to open up our world, to show us things that broaden our minds and to create long-term brand value? The fourth and last challenge to quarterly capitalism is think like a family business. The Japanese kimono manufacturer House of Hoso used to create garments for the shoguns of the leading clans. The biggest innovation in their nearly 330-year history was the introduction of a mechanical loom over 100 years ago. Now, the current 12th generation running the company, the 36-year-old punk drummer Masataka-san, was showing me a picture of Pharrell Williams standing next to his 94-year-old grandmother, wearing a Hoso jacket. In just a few years, seeing that kimono sales weren't all that booming, Masataka-san shifted the Hoso business model, production and marketing, to art, fashion and interiors, serving clients like Louis Vuitton, Dior and Chanel. Around the corner, Taka-san, the 6th generation owner of iconic tea canister maker Kaikado, who've made their product the exact same way for 144 years, shows how each canister ages differently, its color depending on the chemistry of the hands that open and close it for decades. Then he opens up the lid, and soft Japanese jazz starts to pour out. Taka-san grins. The tea speaker is a collaboration with Panasonic, Kaikado's first product change since founding the company. These aren't just stories about absolute dedication to quality over revenue. They show that when you think about success for the next 3 generations, not next 3 months, it allows you to make the necessary changes to ensure longevity, the Japanese pinnacle of success. What if you're not a family business? Japan has a solution for that too. 98% of all Japanese adoptions are employers adopting the adult men on their staff, ensuring that the most capable successor will take the brand forward. What if we all thought like a family business of 7.8 billion people? What if we challenge quarterly capitalism to create new business practices that leverage long-term thinking, that are driven by humanity, even love, that are obsessed with not just share value but world value, and that are built for our grandchildren? When we use our creativity for that, our business acumen for that, what kinds of brands, products, services, and world can we build? It boils down to this simple question: what kind of a world do we want to live in? Not just in the future, but now. And that is a planet-sized business opportunity. Thank you.